We told you about this Quantico daycare kitchen worker who died after catching COVID and the concerns his wife has about the conditions on base during this pandemic. After that story aired, we got a number of emails listing similar fears. One of them came from a teacher's aide at the elementary school on Quantico. It's set to open to students on Monday. She says the death hits too close to home.
Knowing that happened made me feel that I needed to do something. I needed to speak up.
April McCarthy is a teacher's aide at Crossroads Elementary on Quantico. It's one of a few local schools run by the Department of Defense Education Activity, or DODEA. In our area, they are on Quantico and the Navy installation Dahlgren in King George County, Virginia. These schools are about to return to in-person learning during a pandemic. The decision to reopen is based on the health conditions at each base. There will be hundreds of military kids, teachers, and staff in these buildings.
I'm afraid for my staff members, my students and their families, my family. You know, we want to be in school, we want to see our students, but we don't want to get sick. I don't want to read an article about a DODEA teacher that passed away in a month, in 2 weeks.
Officials would not let our crews take video at Crossroads. A spokesperson says they are limiting who comes into their buildings because of COVID. They sent us a few photos to use. These are more images sent to us by staff at the school. They did not want to be identified, fearing for their jobs, but they wanted to make sure the public sees what the setup will look like. In them, you can see the tables are spread apart. That's one of the precautions DODEA Director Thomas BRADY explains they are taking in reopening. They also include social distancing, a requirement to wear masks, modified hallway traffic, school bus schedules and lunches, and increased cleaning. Officials say they are trying to put together a safe environment that's conducive to both learning and keeping people healthy.
We would not begin to open unless I was convinced, and all the professionals in this organization were convinced, that we were putting no child in harm's way.
But according to the union representing these school employees, 95% of those surveyed believe it will be somewhat or very difficult to implement these practices. Barbara McDaniel is another teacher's aide at Crossroads. She works with special needs students.
Can you do your job and socially distance?
I guess I could try. And that's what I'm going to end up doing, is trying, because it's going to be very difficult.
Do you think your special needs students will be able to wear a mask all day?
No. No, I really don't.
Do any of the additional precautions that officials say they're taking alleviate any of your concerns?
If I felt like it was really going to happen, yes. But I don't have a good feeling.
Officials maintain the Quantico schools have sufficient janitorial staff for the increased cleaning, but sources provided WUSA 9 with these slides from a Crossroads training. They show some of that work will be left to teachers and staff.
The best education is face-to-face in a classroom, and so our priority is to open every classroom that we can safely.
Parents who are still worried have the option of moving their kids to virtual learning. But when it comes to teachers, this letter shows at Crossroads only a handful of them are making that switch. For aides and other staff, they are allowed to request exemptions to working in person. But April says there weren't a lot of details about how that would work. DODEA reports they are still going through those applications. Meanwhile, public schools nearby have decided remote learning is the way to start the year.
When you heard that Prince William County, where Quantico is located, was going virtual, what went through your mind?
I had hoped we would follow suit.
A Crossroads teacher who asked to remain anonymous wrote to me about her concerns. The email closes with this: "I will be there with a smile behind my mask that shines through my eyes, but my heart will be heavy as I wonder whose lives we will be putting at risk." And if you're curious about the bigger picture, half of the DODEA schools in the Americas will start the year in person. The other half will begin remotely. Laura Geller, WUSA 9.